Welcome to Wicked Felina. I'm Felina. We're going to talk about perverts, Democrats, and Republicans. Oh, this is going to be a fun show. I knew this was going to happen. Starting off, it's going to be a fun little story about Senator Elizabeth Warren. No, apparently she was never a pervert or a lech, but she had one of those Me Too experiences back in the 80s. Apparently she was working for some guy, and it was, it was a imbalanced position of power. And apparently she went into his office, and he was on one side of the desk sitting down, she's on the other standing up. And apparently he chased her around the desk, and she was chasing around the desk, around and around the desk. And there was apparently this room had no doors or of any kind, and she kept running around the desk, and she was scared. And then she had nightmares. She kept reliving these nightmares that come back to her, And then from then on, she had to wear plain brown outfits. She didn't want to look attractive anymore. It's a horrible story. Well, apparently, it came out that 40 years later, this guy died, and she eulogized him, and she was laughing at the eulogy, and she said that, she was so flattered because he said that she was pretty and was attracted to her, and she was giggling. Which is something I would never do. If somebody groped me or chased me or scared me, probably wouldn't even go to his funeral. But anyway, I guess the really funny part is that it turned out that this guy had polio and he was in a wheelchair. So he's like, I'm gonna chase you. Oh, you're pretty. Oh, I gotta unlock my wheels. It was like, and she's going around the corner. Oh, you're gonna catch me. And then she's running around slowly. Oh, I'm gonna get you. You're pretty. And the doors weren't that far away. So there's our first story. And the next story, well, getting a little serious now. Well, Felina has had a lot of these Me Too experiences, and I could feel volumes. And I know, get off your moral high horse. Oh, it's the way you dress. Actually, no, I don't dress like this when I'm out. I'm actually very conservative how I dress. The best I do is a nice sundress, and I never show cleavage, absolutely not. But, I figure, one day things are going to fall, and, you kind of, hey, you got something nice going on. Anyway, so I figure, anyway, and the funny thing is, really, I never even wear a bra, so don't even go there with me. I'm a very spiritual person. Anyway, so here's the thing. That Senor Clinton, actually Senora and Senor Clinton, a lot of major things that they did wrong, and how they betrayed women, and how the feminists betrayed women. And you see, it's not just that he raped Juanita Broaddrick and he exposed himself to Paula Jones. He bit Juanita Broaddrick's lips, and then after the experience, he came out of the room, and then Hillary grabbed her hand and basically said, we appreciate everything you do and are going to continue to do. It's kind of like she knew what happened, and the feminists all cheered because he passed partial birth abortion, which is something that I would feel uncomfortable with. But they got partial birth abortion. He passed it, and they gave him a pass on all his sexual indiscretions. And from then on, I'm sure they felt they were doing good for women. But from then on, like people like me down here, that's what happened to us. Well, when you date a Democrat, date a Republican, date a Democrat, or somehow they're in a position of power above you, somehow, whatever position that might be. See, there's a psychological game that goes on more than what you think. After that particular incident, if the guy's a Democrat, it's very nasty, because you see, they're for women, and psychologically you think to yourself, they're for women, I can't really complain. It's really the conservatives that are against women and women's rights, that want to control women's bodies. And so when a Democrat does something, sometimes they don't move in for the kill right away. I find Republicans might move in for the kill right away. I guess they both can do their little romantic thing or whatever. But then they say to you things like, you talk about what happened with Bill and how it was wrong. And they say things like, it was just sex. Didn't mean anything. It was just sex. It was nothing. It was the media that obsessed with it. It was Fox News that obsessed with it. And he wanted to get the businesses of the country and the world, and he has other things on his plate. And just like John F. Kennedy passed that young intern around. I think she was 14 or 15 or something. And he passed her around to have oral sex with all the guys in his cabinet and passed her around the pool. It was just sex. I remember this elderly woman. Oh, I can't say that. Elderly woman is saying, she just died in the wool Democrat. I can't say, the Kennedys are akin to Jesus Christ. She's Catholic, so that's meant something to her. And she, talking about the book that this young girl wrote. Well, she's an old woman, but what she wrote. And this elderly woman says, the slut. And they're for women, they're for women's rights. Billy Boy, she called him Billy Boy, he could do no wrong. And the men keep telling you it's just sex, it's nothing. So when men come on to you and they cross the line in many ways, I've worked with a lot of battered women, you think to yourself, psychologically, you kind of push it back. It's just sex, it means nothing, it's only sex. It means nothing. Yet it's a huge violation. And then, of course, Hillary, kind of push. And then with the rape, the 12-year-old girl, she defended the rapist. And she had the little girl analyzed. And they said, oh, she went after older men. She had a thing for older men. When it came out that, was it the son of the man they took turns raping her, went out and bought alcohol and got her drunk, and now she is infertile because she was raped when she was too young. And then later on it was publicized that she stole money from her boss to buy drugs, which is what happens when the approach is taken that the victim is to blame. The 12-year-old girl, the older man, and the teenage boy aren't to blame. And her mother kind of pushed things along because emotionally she was breaking up with the guy she was with. So she wanted the girl out of, because it was so emotional for her, she couldn't handle it. So the mother pushed things along. That's what happened when you blame the victim. The girl's a slut. Selena here. I mixed up my name with the name Slut. Oops, Freudian slut. I'm not a slut. In fact, I'm quite the opposite. That's another story. But anyway, see, this is what happens. So she has that attached to her too. That's a big one. And the feminists keep backing her, all because of passing partial birth abortion. They've betrayed women, me, and many women like me. Of course, Republicans, they'll go in for the kill, and then you think to yourself, well, the Republicans, you know, somehow you've got it in your head somewhere in there that they want control over a woman's body, even though you don't believe it, but somehow psychologically what the parties have done is a real mind blank, if you know what I mean. The Democrats even worse, because they say they're for women and the feminists are for women, but they've used bully tactics, the same bully tactics that they taught us. They said that men are bad, and especially white Christian men are bad. And they taught us all those bully tactics that the men use. And then the feminists basically say, shut up to us and use it on us. And that it's just sex. It's just sex. It means nothing. And of course, they back and sponsor the best religion ever. You know, the best religion ever, where women, it says that in it that you can beat your, or you are told to beat your wife into submission if you just suspect that she might do something. And I won't go into the whole female genital mutilation, or living in a black tent with slits for the eyes. I won't even go into that. And the Democratic Party backs this 100%. And most of them want to live under Sharia, which is, and then you can't believe a woman. See, if a woman, see, they back this too. See, if a woman is raped, see, after you've done, you see a woman, it's said by the great and glorious, the guy who started this, he said that most of hell contains women. And because women who have talked badly and were disobedient to their husbands or were immoral, because, you know, the whole Adam and Eve thing, and you blame Christians for that one, but that's why they kind of have to slice things off and sew it up. And they kind of take that, and, you know, you kind of, the Christians, the whole Christian thing is a woman is a baby machine. That's why, you know, the Christianity doesn't like abortion. You know, that abortion is bad because it's killing a baby. And it's not a baby, it's a fetus, a bunch of cells. But in the best religion ever, which you support, when you cut that off and sew them up, a lot of girls die and complications set in and infection and all that stuff. And then when they have their menses and stuff, when that's it, and then the husband has to break his way in. He breaks his way in on the wedding night. But you got to keep her honor, because if she does something, then it's going to dishonor the father, and then you know, an honor killing is involved, and that's not good either. So maybe that saves her life. And then if you cover her up in a tent and you beat her into submission and banish her to beds apart, and she shuts up, and you kind of live under a totalitarian regime, I guess Christianity is so much worse, isn't it? Because the whole abortion thing. But good luck having abortion in the best religion ever. I don't think that's going to work out for you either. But I think the Democrats and their values and what they back, and there's 180 Sharia courts in England as of 2012, and we have some in Michigan, and they're all over Germany. Oh yes, the woman is raped, even though she's got this burqa thing on. She's sewed up, and she has no physical. She's just a baby machine with no feelings anymore because everything is. If she's raped, she has to have 4 or 5 guys, according to Sharia, say to her, basically say that this is an honorable woman that wouldn't go out and try to seduce, because it's really to seduce a guy, because it would be her fault because the guy really didn't want to have the sex. It's her and her burqa and her whole sewn up and the slits for the eyes that she's so powerful that she, you know, and she has to have 4 and sometimes 5 other, and she's found out she can't find 4 or 5 guys to speak for her honor. Because she's had sex, they kill her. So it's very, 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 very interesting how you millennials, as I speak to my generation, I was told I needed to speak to my generation, so I'll speak to the millennials. And you much, much, much older feminists who betrayed us, when he did something wrong, you should have called it bad. And you should be putting on your vagina hats outside of their Chappaqua home and anywhere a woman is violated in any way, especially the aforementioned things that I said, but I won't mention, but you know what? Mormonism is really, really bad because they do wear uniforms, they have outfits, and they have more than one wife. They're really, really bad. Really bad. Anyway, so I would say, go protest the Mormons. I meant it was Mormonism. I meant go protest the Mormons. But anyway, speaking to my generation, and I hope somebody out there hears this, because this is important. Feminists, women, you have to complain about the right things, because a lot of us have been hurt in the process, in big ways. I'm very pro-feminine. After all, my name is Felina. But I don't think I'm a feminist, because I can't be, because of the hypocrisy.